What's up, guys? It is Rick Ginn, and we are live. So I tell you, an interesting week. I got a little different studio setup. I like to change things up here and there. So those of you that don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn, and I've been doing wholesaling for 20 years. And this is my YouTube channel. A lot of you probably came over from Flip with Rick, or you came over from my son's channel, and we meet here to talk about everything wholesaling. So the real reason why I did this channel, just to let you know, is so you guys can get more access, because honestly, it seems like Tuesday through Friday, the live stream's full in the first minute. So a couple ways you guys can hang out with me is you have the comment sections. Use that to ask your questions, and more importantly, use it to introduce yourself. If you want to learn how to network with people, this is the first task you have to do. Let us know what market you're in. Let us know if you're just getting started, and then find other people with similar markets or similar styles you got going on. And if you want to partner up with them, make sure you vet them. I don't speak for everybody on my behalf. I know most of the people. I just don't know them all. So make sure you do your due diligence. Number two, if you want to do a one-on-one, this is it. So take advantage of it. You're giving up some of your time. Go ahead and get in line now, and you probably have a high probability of talking with me. And then what we like to use the one-on-one is to help you most likely solve a problem, work on a deal, or help you with your mindset on getting started in wholesaling. That's what I'm best at. If you're going to get on here and complain, I'm not going to agree with you. I'm not actually, I don't help people who complain. I'm looking for people that want to solve problems and get ahead in their life. I do not buy into the excuse train. So if you have a lot of excuses, I will make it a very short interview, because it doesn't help the rest of the audience. So those are kind of the rules. Today we are talking all about how to do wholesaling without cold calling. Yes, you can do it, guys. I ran this whole business without doing cold calling in the first 14 years of my business. So it's, listen, cold calling is a pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie to you. Like it's not the easiest. It is extremely effective, but it is not the easiest way to get your first deal. So I want to share some ideas with you, and I'll give you a little journey on how I got started and how you can use certain tools today so you can do your wholesaling. Listen, let's be brutally honest. Some people just don't like cold calling. Honestly, most people don't like cold calling. It's tough. You get rejected, and it's very time consuming. And some of us are constrained with jobs, with other things. So I'm going to give you ideas, tips, and tricks on how to do it. If you've decided, go, hey, I'm not a cold caller, I ain't going to do it. And if you can do cold calling, I highly recommend it. But listen, you've got to be honest with yourself. If there's something you don't want to do and you're going to try to force yourself to do it, and you know you're going to hate it, you're most likely going to fail at it. Ask me how I know this. So I'm going to give the ideas. So I'll take the first part of the segment. I'll go over that. And then my segments are pretty short on this channel. I do it by design so I can spend time with you guys and talk to you. And then we basically take questions from the audience. We take the one-on-ones. And then if we got more time, if you want to rap about other stuff, I'm wide open to it. So I'm a lot looser on this channel because I want you guys to get to know me, Rick Ginn. So a lot of you know me as the father. A lot of you guys know my son. And this is a way I can connect with you, know a little bit more about Rick. I do other things besides wholesaling, but honestly, I really do love wholesaling. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that's why I'm on this channel. So what we do is we provide you a free course, not only for you to get your first deal in wholesaling, but you can also easily with this course earn your first 100 grand. And the whole thing is free. It's accessible to everybody. So go to freewholesaling.com. I'm going to put it up here, and you can easily, let's see here. Don't want to do that. Where is it? You know, I can't operate a computer sometimes. Just go over to free wholesaling. I put it on here at, where is it? Right there. So it's on your bottom. So if you want to know more about this course, it's 100% free. Go on there. I put my 20 years plus experience, and I documented the whole thing, and I show you how you can get a deal. And not only did I do it, my son that's going on a 6 year of wholesaling started when he was 16. He's going to share his journey on there, and you'll see the same synergies, guys. Wholesaling is not complicated. We as humans make it very difficult because we try to take our old mentality of thinking and apply it to modern day wholesaling, and it doesn't work. So if you have an open mind, you'll bury your ego. and you're tired of gurus pulling smoke over your eyes, free wholesaling is the place that you want to go. Go check it out. I promise you, you won't regret it. And guys, listen, if you enjoy the content today, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button. It helps more people just like you find this content so they don't have to go through the guru matrix and pay $10,000, $15,000 to find out they could have just came here for free. And once again, if you really enjoy this channel, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe to it. It makes a huge difference. And here's what I do. I release private content that I don't release on Flip with Rick. I don't release on my son's channel. And honestly, I don't release anywhere else. And you can only benefit. Make sure you subscribe so you know when it comes out. And I try to drop gems and bombs as they become relatable. And what I do is I'm always working on real estate deals, and I share things that worked. And more importantly, I'm going to share things that don't work. And hopefully you don't have to make the same mistake I did. You are going to make mistakes in wholesaling. That's the only way you learn. So anybody who thinks they're never going to make a mistake, get out of wholesaling right away, because it's impossible. But mistakes are actually how we learn. In school, you guys were taught otherwise on that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And that's it. And guys, let's see here. So like right here, I'm just here to tell you, and Chris is brutally honest, and I appreciate this because so many times, listen, I'm a huge advocate of cold calling, but I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't do it till my son came into business and forced us to do it. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you I've made hundreds of thousands of calls. I haven't. Never liked cold calling. I hate getting cold calls. I'm just brutally honest with you. Now, my son, he'd call a million people. It doesn't even faze him. And that's why we were such good business partners. So learn from this live. If you have a friend or a partner wants to get into wholesaling and they love cold calling and you hate it, sometimes they are an ideal person to work with. Maybe not a partner, but maybe you can partner up with them. And it was the perfect match because I had the knowledge. My son had the energy to call, and we found tons and tons of deals. I provided the list. I did everything. I just didn't want to make the calls. So a lot of you fall into this trap where it says, I'll just hire someone to do the cold calling. And we're going to talk about that today, because if you've never made a cold call and you don't understand it and you hire, you're most likely going to get killed because you don't know how to manage these people. And that's the biggest thing that gurus go out and hire people to cold call. Well, if you don't know the right list to pull, you don't know how to keep up with the KPIs with your cold calling people, you are going to get worked. And for that reason, I'd rather you at least figure it out within your business first before you hire. So many people jump in this business, they think they can just hire it out. It is challenging, and I'm here to talk about it. So, Chris, I appreciate your honesty. I'm just like you. So this show, if you're thinking that way, I want to share this with you today because so many people think you can only do cold calling or SMS. And don't get me wrong, those are highly effective. But if you don't like it and you're brutally honest with yourself and you know you're going to fail doing it, let's fix it. There's a million ways to do this business. There's not just one set way. Guys, I made my first $1 million with never making a cold call. And if you want, I'm going to dive into it now and go through it with you. So let's see here. Man, these weeks get like shorter and shorter as I get older, but it is what it is. So, so guys, if you want to get on the one-on-ones, I'm getting close to capacity. If you jump on probably in the next 5 minutes, you'll be good to go. So I'm going to go through this and then we'll jump on the lives and answer the question. So number one, I want you to understand, I built not only $1 million business, a multi-million-dollar business, never making a cold call. Now, am I a fool for doing that? Somewhat, because if I started cold calling back in 2003, it probably would have been a much different story than now, but it is what it is. We all have our separate journey, and I'm here to tell you, everybody learns at a different pace. So I started wholesaling when it wasn't wildly popular. There was very little education out there. And honestly, I had to pick my path to get leads. So I will tell you though, I had no problem door knocking. And as Chris said earlier, I was a face-to-face. I can talk to anyone belly to belly, face-to-face. On the phone, it's just a pain in the butt because it's not personable. People don't like it. And for that reason, I always had an issue with it. Now, I don't have as big of an issue. And if I was going to start over today, I probably would have a different mentality. But I'm here to tell you, if you've just said, listen, I ain't doing it, either find a partner that loves to talk to people, or I want you to use one of these strategies. until you find somebody that can help you out with it. So if I can do $1 million easily in assignment fees without ever making a cold calling, I promise you, you can do the same, but you're going to have to put some work into it. So remember, I did this with no cold calling. I swear I did. I promise you, honestly, if I cold call, I probably would have made $4 million in my first year or two. But honestly, I did not have the capacity. I was just trying to change my 9 to 5 thinking. So honestly, it really worked out better for me this way, because even if I made $4 or $5 million, I probably would have done something stupid with it anyway. So I just wish I started earlier. So I'm here to make this statement. You ready? Cold calling is not the best way to get your first deal. I know that's a controversial subject. Is it the best way if you have very little money and you don't have a car? Probably. But the reality is, it's not the easiest way, because you have to make thousands of phone calls on average. And number two, you really don't know how to talk to people real well. So a lot of the cold calling, you're trying to convince people that really don't have a lot of motivation. And for that reason alone, it makes it very challenging when you start out cold calling with little to no experience. Now, if I could show you a method where you could get motivated sellers contacting you and they actually had some sort of motivation, I'm here to let you know a little secret. It is a much easier conversation. Now, if you're doing cold calling, I don't want you to cut it out. That wasn't my goal. But you've got to understand what goes on with cold calling. And while we're talking about cold calling, I want you to understand this. Cold calling is not free. It's actually the farthest thing from it. And I will debate that if you did direct mail over cold calling, direct mail is probably cheaper in the long run. And I'm going to tell you why, because I have the data to support it. Number one, cold calling, you have to skip trace every single phone number. On average, 12 to 15 cents. Do the numbers, okay? When you're talking about, so if you want to do, say, 25,000 cold calls in a month, which honestly, you need big numbers, but let's just say 20,000. Okay. And then times, guys, that's $3,000 in data fees right off the bat. If you have like listrei.com, maybe it's another $100, but you're at $3,100. So you only get 10,000. So you have to pay extra for that. So you're going to be around $3,200. So it's not free. And then if you use a multi-line dialer, that's another couple hundred more bucks. You're going to approach like $3,500. I want you to understand it is not free. And keep in mind, if you're going to pay someone the cold call, double the number again. So that's going to put you around $6,000. I don't know why people think cold calling is so cheap. It's not. Now, if you're doing it yourself, you're pulling a list, doing all that stuff, knock yourself out. We're not talking about that. I'm here to tell you, cold calling has an expense. Now, the good news of cold calling, you only got to get the phone number once. That's the great part. Then you got to go through all, are they on the do not call list? Is somebody going to sue me? And you get like nasty people and you waste a lot of time on it. So the reality is 98% of the people you cold call, they don't want anything to do with you. And that's the reason why I hate cold calling. If I was starting out with nothing, I would do it because I wouldn't have a choice. But if you have a choice, I'm going to give you some options here. So we've already established with cold calling. By the way, I'm going to go over some other alternative sources. So say I'm not, okay, Rick, I've eliminated cold calling. I don't have a phone. I can't do it. I just have a cell phone. I don't want to mess with it. What do I do? Number one, and I'm going to do these in order of importance. Number one, reverse driving for dollars. So first thing I would do is I would just go out and do a driving for dollars and put a list together. I still love that. And honestly, if you hired me, which nobody hires me because I don't let people hire me, is if you said, hey, Rick, come to my market tomorrow and spend 2 days with me, probably the first 4 to 6 hours, we go do driving for dollars. Why? Because I know I can get your leads right off the bat. I know I can do it. I can guarantee I can get it to you because you just need your eyes and hopefully a car to drive around in. And once you get those leads, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a reverse driving for dollars. Or maybe I do it while I'm on the spot. And that's just the method of where we put a yellow sticky note on the door. Hey, Rick, I got a quick question about your house and a phone number. And then the leads call me in. And so if I put out 100 sticky notes and 15 people call me back, I just deal with 15 as opposed to being beat up by all the other 85 people that don't want to do business with me. It's extremely effective. I would also push that reverse driving for dollars to do my government lists, my code violations, water shutoffs, fire damage, like go on and on with these lists, the eviction list, everything. Not so much the eviction list because they have tenants in it, but you guys kind of get my drift on it. To me, it is highly, highly effective. And when you start off, if you want to be highly effective and you only have a limited amount of time, the reverse driving for dollars, in my opinion, trumps cold calling on lead per lead. Here's the key with cold calling is you need a huge amount of volume, and it's going to take you time to get experience. And eventually you're going to have to find someone motivated that you can overcome your shortness of experience. That's just the truth. And some people told me, Rick, I don't want to do it. How do I do it? Right here, guys, reverse driving for dollars is a huge game changer. If I dropped in any of your markets, I promise you, all the tools I have, all the resources, I would go straight driving for dollars with reverse driving for dollars. Why? Because it works. Number 2, SMS. It just works. Like it is. So in my opinion, SMS, now it's not free. And there's a lot of variables in it, and you got to learn how to do it. Go over to freewholesaling.com. We teach the whole thing, and it works really well. The key with the SMS is, what I love about the SMS is you can actually, you ready for this? You can actually scale it. It is the number one most scaling outside of direct mail, and it's right up there with direct mail, in my opinion. And if you guys want to learn how to do it, we have an all-in-one platform, smsact.com. Check it out because it allows you not only to use AI in there, you can avoid the Twilio, and you have to do all these EIN numbers to set up. And honestly, in my opinion, it is the best way to do it. I'll share that with you guys in a little while, but I love SMS because it works. It works really well, and you got to stick to it. But it is a process. There is an expense to it. It's not free. But if you don't like cold calling, I got SMS. I'm telling you, you're crazy if you don't do it. I love it. Why? I want you to think about this. It's the only one I know where it's like I don't have to deal with people, and then I can sort. So I can sort through much bigger numbers. Why? Because I'm only dealing with the people that want to take it to the next level. And the whole goal of whenever you do SMS, hands down, is take them from a text form and get them on the phone. That is, you can't close them via text. It's very rare. I've done like 2 deals my entire career in 20 years. Guys, that's a lot of years. Like you're averaging 1 deal every 10 years via text only. So make sure you understand you have to convert them from text to phone. If everybody could sell their house on a text, they wouldn't need any wholesalers in the world. And I'm here to tell you, got to make sure that you understand that. So my third one, you guys know I love this to death, is direct mail. Listen, direct mail is not for everybody, but if you're busy and you don't like calling thousands of people and do all this stuff, direct mail is effective. The challenge with direct mail is you have to be patient and you have to be disciplined. And if you're not either one of those, don't do it, because it's not I send out mail, I got a deal, and I'm one and done. And I help people all the time with direct mail. By the way, I do it for free all the time. And here's the one thing I do. I make them come up with a marketing schedule, and we come up with a forecast. And I tell them we'll review it once a quarter. Do not call me every day. Do not call me every week, because that's what weak people do. Disciplined people understand this is going to take time. So let me ask you this. If you were going to build a house and after day 4, you go to the contractor and go, why is the house not done? He's going to look at you like you're crazy. That's how I look at people in direct mail when they ask me some of the crazy questions. You've got to understand that direct mail takes time. And if you are not patient with the time on it, it will never work. This is the secret. I see people posting all the time on our forums, on our live streams, and I see it in a lot of other people's is, I tried direct mail, it failed. If you try direct mail, I guarantee you it will fail. It is a long play. It's patient. It takes about 3 months to really cultivate your first deal, and direct mail builds. Now, the beauty of direct mail, it's extremely scalable because they're calling you in, and it's highly effective. I'll even tell you this, direct mail is so effective, you could go to a full-time job and run almost a full-time wholesaling business if you're okay talking to people after hours, and you can get somebody helping you answer the phones while you're at work, or if you can take the call while you're at work. I did that for 6 months, by the way. It's highly scalable because you can send out thousands and thousands, and get it done. And I'm telling you to work. Now, is it going to cost you? Yeah. On average, it's going to cost you about 55 cents a piece. So if you mail to 10,000 people, that's $5,500. So if you were going to do mailing and you're going to say spend $5,000 a month, you have to commit $15,000. Now, here's the good news. After 3 months, if you do direct mail correctly, it typically pays for itself for the rest of your life. But you're going to have good months. You're going to have bad months. That's why you have to look at over 3 months. Now, my average direct mail piece, I earn about $36,000. I will average between 2 and 5 deals a month. Sometimes I get 0. It's an average, guys. The key word here is it's an average. I've been doing direct mail for 20 years. I learned early and I stuck to it. And I learned all the games that are played in it. And if you want to learn more, I'm going to put it on the bottom here. Then this is 100% for free. Is you want to go over to Mailing Mastery. I share everything I do on there. And guys, if you don't want to do cold calling, you're going to have to spend some time and educate yourself. I could easily sell this course for like a ton of money. I'm here to tell you guys, it works. I use a special postcard called ROS. I go in the full depth. I don't have enough time to explain it on this live. You're crazy if you don't do this. I think it would be huge if you understood that. So let's get back to what we're talking about. We're getting close to wrapping up here. Now, I love direct mail. I think you should get a couple deals on your belt before you do direct mail, especially if you're on an extremely limited budget. I'm going to let you a little secret. Most gurus that are going to pay a course for you, they go straight to direct mail. You know why? Here's the secret. It's really easy for them. Doesn't cost them a dime. You get faster results. And then once you get a deal, you're off the guru's back. But the reality is if you can learn to do deals without any money or like cold calling, you're actually a more effective wholesaler in the long run, in my opinion. So if you don't have time and you're extremely limited, you hate cold calling, you should seriously consider direct mail. But understand you have to be educated to understand it. Everybody sells you a course on direct mail. They're all snowing it over your eyes. I'm just telling you, it's not complicated. You just have to be disciplined and you have to be patient and you have to set some money aside to do it. And I'm telling you, I was still going to focus on the core list that me and Zach teach you. So let's go to the next one. Doing social media deals. Guys, there's a code word that's been all over the internet about this over the last few years, and they act like they own the phrase. A $0 method is, I've been doing this since 2006. Facebook groups, Craigslist, you name it. Craigslist's Facebook list. You can even use Instagram. You just go in the groups that you're already affiliated with, that you already have some sort of credentials through organic interactions. And then once you get in there, you can, okay, let's let you know, guys, let you know I buy houses all the time. I don't really care what condition is. If you need to sell, I love to work with people that love dogs in this group. It's organic and people trust you automatically. Doesn't cost you anything to do, but you do have to post. You have to spend time doing it. I've done this since 2006. So I love when a guru tells me, Rick, I started this in 2017. I go, I did in 2006. I have all the documentation. Go ahead and try to trademark it. I'm going to laugh all the way. You can't trademark it. I'm tired of people trademarking stuff that's been around. Cold calling's been around forever. Door knocking's been around forever. Maybe AI is like the newest thing and everyone's going to try to trademark it. But I'm here to tell you, going in these social media groups and being organic of people that you've already have an established trust is huge. Now, what you can't do is join the group the day. Like we have about 500 people every day tries to join our group. They don't read the rules and right off the bat, hey, if you want to trade digital coins or you go check out this guru, you won't be disappointed. Boom. It's a real challenge. Because number one, you're going to get kicked out of the group. And number two, it's called spamming and nobody wants to hear about it. And I'm telling you, if you do that, you're wasting your time. So you got to do the social media one right. If you want to learn how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. We pick that up all the time. The next one, the Chat GPT, using Chat GPT to write ad copy for Craigslist and Facebook groups. I gotta be honest, it's phenomenal. We're still in the infancy stages trying to figure it out. I will give you feedback on it. Here's the one thing is I don't promote things to you guys unless I have proven it in my own business model, because then I'm just chasing around shiny objects. So I'm a little bit more adept than most of you, but like we test this on a daily basis. And we've had some great results. We've had some mixed results. So the jury's out. I will tell you, you want to get on this. ChatGPT will help you write your ad copy a heck of a lot better than you're ever going to do it. And it is more valuable to anybody who is inexperienced in doing wholesaling. So if you don't know the lingo and stuff, you can ask GPT and just keep reiterating it to make it better and better for you. And as usual, you guys know I'm going to the government list. The government list or any list that you can pull from your county level, the pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, the probate list, the tax delinquent list, the evictions, the probates, and then we jump over to the fire damage properties, the water shutoffs, code violations. Guys, these lists, they are the number one reasons why our Me and Tax group at freewholesaling.com and Flip with Rick has more testimonials than any other guru out there. Like, I will put it up against anyone. Guys, here's the best part is we don't even ask you for the testimonials. So do you know, like when you get, if you guys ever look like at an Amazon product and you see like 3,000 people bought it and it's like 4.7 stars out of 5, it makes you feel a lot more confident about it. And it's the same way with us. As opposed to the gurus who use these paid services, like I'm not going to use names, but there's paid services while you're looking at it. They go, oh, so-and-so just bought and so-and-so just bought. Give us a 5-star review. It's all fake. It's all paid for. You've got to get the truth. How do you get the truth? Find someone that organically is telling you what's going on in the world of wholesaling and get the truth. We are the number one reason we drive most gurus crazy. Number one, because they're all lying to you. That's that's why they're driving you nuts. If they just tell you the truth and help you out, then maybe they could form a product that could actually charge for you that would help you out. I've yet to see one in wholesaling that actually works, because it's bad enough that you have to pay $10,000 or $15,000 to learn wholesaling. It's at that price is ludicrous, guys. I'm just telling you, it doesn't even make sense to me. So don't fall for it. So the government list, and don't forget paid list, listrei.com, Zach Data, like all that stuff, batch prop. We don't believe in being married to one vendor. Like, we like to give you guys choices because some people like this, some people like that. Some of you guys like to do more skip tracing with the cold calling, you use batch. Some like the simplicity of PropStream, and that's why you use listrei.com. And that's why we give you options, because if I just cram one down your throat, why do you think every other guru only gives you one option? Because they're married to that person. They promised they would promote the heck out of it. I don't care. Honestly, you don't even need them. I went the first 3 years in this business without using any type of list service at all and made over $1 million. So I'm going to keep reiterating. I made $1 million just like you guys did with absolutely no cold calling. So if you have an issue with cold calling, I am here to tell you don't worry about it. What you guys, with the biggest struggle I see with cold calling, I'm just here to tell you, is you guys listen to so many gurus, which most of them are going to be fake, and they tell you to go hire a VA to do your cold calling. Well, here's the problem. If you've never cold called, all of a sudden the VA starts selling on you why you need to hire them and these amazing results you're going to get. And you're going to find out within 30 days, it rarely works out. Why? Because the VA, like, here's the reality, is they're going to take advantage of you. I'm sorry. They've done it to me 1,000,000 times. I let them. And I'm here to let you educate yourself. Either get someone that's highly experienced in the United States to help you out with, or do it yourself, or use one of these other methods I just showed you so you don't drive yourself nuts. The last thing I need, we already have a 90 to 95% failure ratio in wholesaling courses. And the reason is everybody makes it like it's so easy. So when you hire a VA and they go, I'm going to make 10,000 cold calls and I'm going to knock it out of the park for you. And then 2 weeks goes by, and then every lead you're calling on, they're just like, I didn't tell her I was going to sell. She just told me like to talk to you. After a while, you're going to put 2 and 2 together and go, man, I'm not getting anywhere. So do you know the tools to make sure they're actually making the calls? You should have some sort of screen recording tool. You should have a recording of every call they make if you're going to use a VA, because here's the reality. Most of them aren't going to call. I'm sorry. They're going to lie to you, and their goal is to milk you as long as they can until you find. So most wholesalers quit with VAs on cold calling within 90 days. Most of you guys give up after 30, 45 days. And I'm here to tell you, give yourself a reality check. Instead of doing all that stuff, maybe you can find another alternative way that you can take some inbound traffic so you don't drive yourself nuts. You have options. I like cold calling. Like, I love it. It's not my DNA to do it. That's why my son brought it into our business. And honestly, if he didn't educate me on how to do the cold calling, I would have got killed on it. So most cold call centers, they pop up, they close down. Like, it's ridiculous. And most of them are backed by a guru. And most of them know you're going to quit within 90 days of doing it. So guys, it's not the worst thing in the world if you don't do cold calling. I've successfully survived, and I would have survived without my son, although I would have missed out on some big, big, huge opportunity. So, so Alex asked here, hey, do you need a business or an LLC to send out an SMS campaign? What you need to do is find the carrier you're going to work with. If you're going to use SMS, Zach, just go through the protocols and find out what you need or what you don't need. And that way you'll get exact answers. So you can check it out on the bottom. Just call them. Like, that's a good answer. I don't know every answer on it. I assume it just depends on the delivery and how they set it up. It's changed so much in the last year, guys. So before that we set up this platform is we had to go through and manually rotate all the messages. Like, we had to cut and paste. Now with AI, it's the most incredible feature I've ever seen in SMS. And it's only going to get better. And we had to have an account with Twilio. We had to have 4 different vendors just to run our SMS. And finally, we found a product that we can do our entire business in one complete setting. Check out SMS Zach, because I've never seen a better one. We've used another service. They're good, but they can't keep even close to what the service offers. So make sure you check that out. Let me see what else I have here. That's a good question, though. So somebody says, hey, what do you recommend do? Just rewind this video. I go through it all. I gave you 5 different ways to get leads without cold calling. The reality is some of us have a terrible fear of cold calling, or let's just face it, we're honest with ourselves. We want to do it. It's okay. You're going to have to spend some money, do it some other ways, but you can easily do this business. The reality is cold calling, it's tough. And like, none of these coaches stuff would tell you, yes, it takes a lot of grit. Who wants to sit down 3 hours and make endless calls to people that's constantly saying no to you? So it takes a special person. Most people burn out on cold calling. And by the way, VAs burn out on cold calling too. Most of them burn out. They can't keep up the pace they do it. Now, if you find a business owner or a partner that's passionate about it, you can't shut these people down. Zach cold called for the first 4 years all by himself, period. Really 3.5. But after that, then he trained people. And by Zach doing that, he's got the most effective cold calling staff of all of them. Why? Because he's got experience. He knows where to find the deals and what indicators use to point him in the right direction. So let me get that off there. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get to questions. Okay. So, interesting. Okay, I'm reading everything, guys. I'm not ignoring you. Let's see. So somebody asks, is how much mail do you send out to each month? That's a personal decision. I never make people force a certain mail. You got to see what you can afford and commit to for a 90-day period. And if you can only afford $1,000 a month, then it's a $3,000 budget, and then you have to back your numbers out from there. So if it's going to cost you 55 cents a piece, you can divide the math and do it from there, and that'll help you. You got to come up with a plan and a budget, and because if you just throw out mailers, you're never going to be able to make that work again. So, and Anderson's asked, do you recommend cold calling? Yeah, it works just the same. It's actually phenomenal for that. So, if you're virtual, all this stuff works. Actually, it works better for virtual. So if you're virtual, you can do any of the tactics I share with you here, and you can always do cold calling virtually. Obviously that's going to be the number one way. And then we got Amelia here. I got to just highlight because she's watching from a Carnival cruise. So she's probably sipping on a nice drink with a pretty umbrella in it while we're all sitting here working. So, that's awesome because she's learning and she's figuring out how to earning. And a little secret, I used to go on cruises when Zach was really little, and I spent a majority of time sitting in a lounge chair and just studying and listening and studying and listening and listening and listening. And you guys have so many tools today. I think that's really awesome. So way to multitask, Amelia. That's awesome. God, I'm kind of jealous too. I'm not going to lie to you. So, okay, let's jump over to lives. I'll take you guys in order, man. Yo, you there?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn you up here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
No, just a couple questions real quick.
Shoot.
When I'm trying to find the motivation, I'm gonna ask, hey, so just curious. I mean, this is a nice property. Why are you guys interested in letting it go? When they respond, well, you called me. What do you say to that?
So the whole goal of when you get into that is you have to get them talking.
Okay.
Yes or no questions, brutal. Like, so you got to think about it is, think about this though. And so I try to break it down is, are you married, single? What's your status?
I'm got a girl.
Okay. So let me ask you, when you met your girl, did you have to work a little bit?
Yeah.
Your same concept. Just like, I'm just trying to like lighten the mood on it with it. Is the problem is when you get into that, and remember, they don't know who you are. You're cold calling them probably. It's just like a cold call type of deal.
Yeah, it's cold call.
So that first 30 seconds is brutal, like, and face it. So you got to just change up so tempo is number one. And number two, stop asking yes or no questions. So my always fail safe line, especially when I didn't know how to talk to people, because I've been in your guys' shoes when you don't quite have the experience. The experience just comes with time. Repetition, you can scram 5 years in 1 year if you do a high repetition. But whenever I got stuck and it got awkward, kind of like you did, I go, listen, can you just tell me a little bit about the property, what's going on? And then most people will ooze out of the mouth of the property, even if it's good or bad. And if you can just get them talking, they'll start giving you subtle clues, and then you can start picking them apart and going through MCTP. But the problem is they're using the volley method on you. And you got to bounce it back quickly, because if you do all the talking, you're not going to get anywhere with them.
Well,
Do you understand?
That makes a lot of sense. But to give context of it, it's like, so for example, like I'll call and then, hey, are you the owner of the property at 123 Main Street? And I'm like, yeah, why? Just curious, were you guys open to selling that property? And they would say like, well, for the right amount. And then I'm like, well, could you tell me a little bit about the property? Then we'll go in, they would tell me to go into details. And then that's when like, am I like transitioning into like the motivation too early, or am I missing it as they're telling me the details?
No, so like the whole idea is, listen, the reality of qualifying people is listening to subtle cues. You have to listen very carefully. The only way you can listen to subtle cues is to get them talking. If they don't talk, it's impossible. It's like playing poker with someone with their glasses on with a hoodie over the top. I can't read people. So when you're on the phone, it's hard. So you have to really lean in and listen. And honestly, as soon as you can get them off their defense. So like, I played around with this forever, and you're going to have to screw around people when you do cold calling. Sometimes you have to get them off the defense before you can do anything offensively. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes you just got to like, hey, listen, I'm not going to bite you. I just have interest in your property. You said you had interest in selling it. The one comment you have to be careful, and I'm going to give you a piece of data that's going to help you. Anyone says if the price is right, you have a 98% probability of not doing a deal. Did you hear me on that one? Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know if people watch The Price is Right. I mean, now we're going back in time here, but these are Bob Barker days. I hate that line, because the Price is Right is like MLS talk. It's not even wholesaling talk. And when I hear that, I'm pretty like, I'm just going to push. Like, where are you guys going to be moving? And like, if there's no plan, no nothing, you really got to wonder if it's really worth even pushing this lead. I don't want to sit there and talk to people that have no interest in selling their house. Now, I will tell you this. You got to understand this. Me and Zach give you suggestions on what you say. Mix it up, dude, because other people taught me what to say and eventually didn't work, and I had to change it up. So a lot of times, if you can just, some people, I have a friend that recently he's only on his second year wholesaling. Absolutely amazing. I mean, just destroying my numbers off the rooftop. But I taught him how to get started. And he goes, listen, Rick, you got to tell people to start doing this goal. He goes completely off script and he basically just starts having a conversation with people. Like, he doesn't ask them the standard questions, but he's willing to spend more time with anybody else I met. So sometimes if your questions aren't working and you're not like getting, just change the question. So the first thing is, sometimes some people like the small talk, some hate it. And so you got to figure out how to get through that first 30 seconds and get them talking to you. How you do that, you kind of write the rules for that. The problem is every person's different, and that's the problem. There's no set one way to do it. If they answer yes, no questions and they give you one word answers, you're never going to be able to figure out if they want to sell. I will tell you, if they tell you the price is right, it's usually not going to work out. So I want to screen them in the first 20 seconds anyways, but like if you go too hard in the paint, you're going to screen people that might have a chance to sell you the property, and you have to be careful. So many people, they'll call 100 people and then like 6 or 7 want to talk and they're like, no, I'll call you back. I'm in the theory, if you call and they want to talk, just talk to them, because a good motivated lead is not easy to find in cold calling. So you have to take the time to do it. And so many guys like brush over with it. So you just got to find ways to engage them. And sometimes I shock people like, well, tell me a little bit more about the property. I would love to hear. I can't see it, but I just want to get like a feel for you on it. And honestly, like honestly, once someone starts telling me about the property, within 10 seconds, I can tell you 50-50 if they're going to do a deal with me. I can tell you right off after about 20 seconds, I can tell you who's not going to do a deal with me. So the more they talk, it just saves you from asking a million questions. Okay. And so here's the other key. When they go on and on about how perfect the property is, which is human nature, you have to stop them. So if they're going on like 3 or 4 minutes about how great it is, a white picket fence, I just stop. I stop them midstream. I go, John, wait a minute. That property sounds perfect. Why would you even consider selling it? And I'm just going to look and see what his reaction is. And if he goes, hey, Rick, if the price is right, I'll sell anything. I go, John, it sounds like you need a realtor. Would you like me to refer you to one? And he's not even ready for a realtor. And we just move on. But I shock him, because here's the truth. Let me ask you, do you think people lie to you in the first minute on a cold call?
Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah.
You guys just, very rarely you'll get someone that tells you the truth, but the reality is most of them are lying to you, because the reality is, what kind of list do you pull? Maybe you got them off the code violation list. Maybe you got them off the eviction list. Maybe you got them off of the pre-foreclosure list. I call lists that have high probability of problems. So you got to understand that when you're calling them, most of these people have a problem. They don't trust you enough to tell it. So you got to find a way to kind of bridge that gap. And so the best way you can do it is just basically work on some role playing. And honestly, if a call's not going the way you want it, take a risk. What do you have to lose?
Right.
Just, hey, I go, dude, you sound like an awesome guy. I just want to know if there's a shot at me buying this property. If I'm wasting your time, just let me know. And sometimes you can shock them and telling you the truth. But like, think about this. When someone cold calls you, do you like tell them like all your problems in your life in the first 30? No, you got to warm up to people. They got to know they trust you. Here's what studies show. If you can spend 3 minutes with a person, they'll put their guard down every time with you and tell you what's going on in their life. It's hard to get past that 3 minutes though. Like, think about it. How many times you talk to someone, even in person on the phone, and like they connected with you in one way or form, and then you're just like, yeah, you know what? I could probably use that service. I'm just being naive and stupid about it. But you got to get past that awkward stage. So the main thing is, I know when you cold call, you have to disqualify first, because let's face it, 9 out of 10 are going to kick you out. But those ones that are like, well, you called me, you tell me. I said, John, listen, I'm just trying to get a feel for the property so I can understand what I'm getting into. Maybe it's just not a good fit. Maybe you want a realtor. Like, I'll say stupid things, because what do you have to lose? I've already called them there. You might as well shock them. The worst they're going to do is hang up, because the reality is they're getting ready to hang up on you anyway. So take a risk with it and just hit them in the mouth with some stuff. And usually it sparks a weird conversation. And sometimes that's what you need to get people to tell you the truth. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you're just going to have to go off script, because listen, if you're slipping down a slope, okay, you're falling off of a cliff and you're like, oh, my rope broke, I'm grabbing this. If you're getting ready to fall and there's a tree branch and you look at it and it looks a little shaky and dried out, you're like, I don't know if it's going to support me, but you're losing your hands grip. Are you going to grab that branch or not?
Yeah, definitely grab it.
Might as well take a shot. So take a shot. The worst thing to do is hang up and you move on. Like you just gotta like every now and then when I get a real nasty cold call, and I don't do a lot of cold calls, but like I'll do follow-up leads and stuff like that. I just tell them, I go, dude, are you mad at me? I go, are you okay? Like, I get it. If you're having a rough day, I get it. And like some people will like, they will dump on you. Honestly, if you ever had a really bad day and somebody catches you at the wrong moment and you're like, you probably say stuff you shouldn't say. It happens all the time. Cold callers get the worst of it. So have fun with it. You just break out. You're really good at talking to people because I've heard you before. Just go off script a little bit and change your tonality and change the tempo of your conversation. Because most people, long as they're, because here's the reality they're telling you is, I feel like you're selling me. And you got to switch to like, I'm listening to you. And if you can make that transition, they all won't accept it. But if you make it, you'll make a huge difference. So I want you to understand that you have to disqualify. Otherwise, you won't get enough people. But once you get in that qualifying, you get that gray area and they're like, hey, listen, you call me, you tell me. And then you got to come up with something clever enough to go, hey, listen, you sound like an awesome person. I get it. You might be having an off day. Is there something I said that upsets you? Or like, I mean, you just need someone to listen to you. Like, ask crazy stuff. You'd be surprised how people will respond to you because everyone's so robotic that does cold calling. Nobody ever takes the time to ask people, how are you truly doing?
Yeah, it's just true.
Let me ask you, when someone goes, hey, how are you today? What do you say 9 times out of 10? Be truthful.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What does I'm good mean? I don't even know what that means anymore.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, like, I try to always answer people in a very upbeat, fantastic, like, that's just who I am. So once it goes, how you doing today? I go, I'm like, fantastic. I go, I couldn't do better. They go, what is wrong with you? That's how our society is. Because if someone gives such a positive like answer, it freaks people out. And you can do the same. Go, listen, if I get any better, I'm going to fall out of my chair. How are you doing today? And then they go, well, I'm having a good day. I go, what's going on? And then, so if you can just have a simple conversation and let someone know they're being heard, it makes a huge difference in the day. It ain't going to work every time. I'm not going to sit here and spoon feed you, but like, and then by you taking some of those chances and risk, you're going to work out a whole new set of vocabulary and you're going to have very advanced conversations. People, guys, when I started, I was like, will you sell me your house? That was my line. That was it. I had no idea. I was scared to death. So you're evolving and keep coming on. So just take a risk when you talk to them. And like, you're already there. They're going to hang up on you. Might as well reach for that branch. If it breaks, the only thing that's going to happen is the phone hangs up and you call the next person.
That's true.
So they're just trying to say, listen, I think you're selling me. How do I know you're listening to me? And my number one pet peeve when I deal with people with sales calls that call me, so my last name's Ginn. You know what everybody calls me? You guys know my name. You know what most people call me don't know me?
Ginn.
Yeah, it pisses me off. But I'm respectful because I'm not great with names either. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I said, listen, my name is Mr. Ginn. Okay, Mr. Ginn, we have a package for you. I think it's going to solve your problem. I go, listen, this is the second time I'm going to remind you. And if you don't hear me, I assume you're not listening to me and you're a robot. If you call me Mr. Ginn one more time, I'm going to hang up. Sure enough, 90% of the people cold call me, they'll call me Ginn by the third time. You know what that tells me? You're not listening to me at all. I'm just a number and you're going to run me over. And that's what you have to differentiate yourself from all the other cold callers. And if you take that time, you'll have fun. People are going to frustrate you still, but like every now and then you will bust somebody open. By the way, I did one of my biggest real estate deals from a guy that told me to F off. And I took a risk. I go, you know what I said to him? This is terrible. My wife said she thinks it's terrible. I said, who hurt you? And from that, I made $137,000 on one multifamily deal.
Oh, wow.
Because he said, man, you got a big set of cojones to say that to me, but I like that. And then we opened up a conversation. He was going to hang up on me. I took a massive risk. What's the worst he's going to do to me? So I do it all the time when people are nasty to you. Just go like this, guys. Who hurt you? And do you need therapy for it? Because you're taking it out on me and I don't appreciate it. And it's like, that's the truth. So just little things you catch people off guard. And sometimes now on the phone, it's easier because they can't swing at you. They can't spit on you and they can't slam the door in your face. All they can do is hang up on you. So
True.
the risk and reward's worth it on the phone. In person, I don't advise doing that ever in person. It's just too risky. Like there's strange people out there. So am I giving you ideas? Like you gotta think like you are an entrepreneur. You're like, we give you a guideline. It ain't going to work on everyone. But when you get into that, like, well, you called me, just start having fun with it. I go, you know what? I love calling you. And I called you personally and directly to see if we can strike a deal on your house. Can you go in and tell me a little bit more about your house? So by doing that long-winded thing, you're like, listen, I'm listening to you. Now I want to hear what you have to say. And if they go, well, it's good. I go, I don't know what good means. Can you like share a little bit about the house? Any recent updates? Go ahead. And if all I do is get it, you're not going to get a deal anyways. Like you don't buy houses from people that say yes, no all day. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. What else you got?
Just super quick. I don't want to take up everybody else. Yeah. So the next one is, so with HAR, when you put in the address, it gives you three ARVs. One from Black Knight, one from CoreLogic, and then one from the appraisal district. I remember speaking with Zach last time. He said just take the highest and the lowest. But do I not count the appraisal district? Because sometimes I come across like distressed properties where the appraisal is like at 77,000, but then the two other ones are like in the hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so when you say what do you call it? Appraisal what?
Appraisal district.
So is that coming from the county's website?
I think so. You know HAR.com for Texas. Whenever you put in the address to find the comps.
I'm not going to sit here and like BS you. The answer is no. Like I've seen it, but I don't know it personally.
Okay.
So just tell me a little bit about what's going on. And let's see if we can make sense of it.
Okay. So basically Zach was saying that that's a good one to use for comps to get it real quick. The address of the property. Black Knight gives you an appraisal for it. CoreLogic gives you one, and then the appraisal it gives you what the appraisal district has it as. But he says
so the only thing I'm a little confused when you say appraisal district, is that coming from the county site when they assess taxes for properties like the TAV?
Yeah, from the county.
Okay. So here's the thing is, so we call it TAV. So it's tax assessed value. Every county has to do it because there's laws in the United States on how they assess property taxes. So what you have to do, this is part of getting to know your local market, even if you're doing it virtually, is look at the TAV on every property you're working with, and then look at what the, the average of the ARV is from all the different sites. You can use CoreLogic, you can use Zillow, you can use Trilio, like HR, all that other stuff. And then you're going to come up with a quick assumption. So in my area, on average, our TAVs are discounted between 20 and 23% of the ARV. Now, guys, I've been doing this 20 plus years. It varies, 2 or 3% depending on what's going on in the market, but our TAV is always lower. Every now and then a property is so trashed, the TAV doesn't even make sense. So when markets are good, you can use the TAV as your worst case scenario for your MAO, and it works, but it doesn't work in every market. So you've got to know what the correlation of your TAV to the market value of your properties if you want to use that as one of your indicators. Okay. But then I have 3 counties over that the TAV is above what the appraised value of it is. So it's just kind of weird. So if you look at that, so a lot of times, sometimes we have to make some very fast decisions with my acquisitions people, and they know in certain markets that if you can get the house that's not completely trashed for the TAV, we usually do very well. But I can't, if I thought that was a rule, I'd give it to you all, but it doesn't work in every county. It doesn't work in every state. So you've got to find the correlation. So have you looked at the correlation? Are you doing this locally or in a virtual market?
Locally, Houston market. But I have not done what you said. But I'm going to go ahead and do that.
So do that part and get an understanding of it, but understanding it can, so TAV is used to fairly assess taxes. It's not to assess values.
Yeah.
But there is a consistent factor because they're figuring out square footage in the area, and then they do a TAV. And then that's how people pay their property taxes. And if people have a problem with it, they complain to it to get it in line. So the TAV is a very consistent approach because if they had to reevaluate the taxes on the full value, like every year, like it would exhaust most, it's like a very hard, that would be a lot of work. So they come up with like an average. And so then there's checks if people have like special exemptions, like military and stuff like that. then they discount it off the TAV. But everybody should know what your correlation between your TAV, your tax assessed value, and what the ARV is. And then within 6 months, you can establish some rules in your own company and go, okay, if you get it the TAV and it's not trash, you'll actually do very, very well. So in my markets, typically in Florida, if you can buy it for the TAV, you did it phenomenally.
Okay.
Because on average, that means you're getting a 25% discount, 20 to 25. And if that's the starting point, every now and then a seller thinks that, I'm going to let you a little secret. I've had a lot of sellers who reached out to me when I did it. They thought the TAV was the appraised value. I was brutally honest with them. I go, I'm like, I don't want to steal your house, but to let you know, that's just what they do, the assessment. They don't care. They think that's it. Now, ever since the number one indicator of what a seller thinks their house is worth is what? You know it.
Just whatever they feel like it is.
The Zestimate. Zillow's markets so successfully, everybody looks up their value on the Zestimate. So you should always know what the Zestimate is when you're talking to a seller. And I would know what the TAV, and somewhere in the middle usually lies the price you're going to buy it. I try to never, ever, pay what is estimated, because most of them are kind of off. But I'm just telling you, if you know what the seller's looking at, then you can kind of get in their head 9 times out of 10. So if it says, hey, it's at 250 for this estimate, and they got a bad roof, they got a bad AC, you can just start mining it off those numbers and then figure out a profit level, just to even know where you're going to start with your number. But once again, I told you guys, don't get too deep in the numbers. Just go with the go for no to see if there's motivation. So you don't wind up being a realtor trying to get the exact number, because you're never going to get it. You just got to find someone that's motivated enough to move it. Guys, there's always somebody willing to sell a property. Somebody's always got to get it moved. Not everybody wants retail. It's all a big poker face. So find people that are going to have motivation, and then just use the go for no. And then figure out if you can correlate TAV with all that other stuff. But like at the end of the day, if you look at too many comps, you're just going to get more and more confused. Yeah. So I would never look past 3, because it's not going to change after that. It's all an opinion, by the way. Okay. Because the true price of a property is what? What's the value of a property?
What somebody feels, what they're willing to buy.
So you're the buyer, so you're going to set the price. Now you can get advice, but at the end of the day, if you spend too much time looking at comps, it means you're trying to justify what you're going to overpay for it. And you need to heed the warning. Just use the go for no and see what their bottom line number is, and see if you can even work out that difference. Because I know my first 2 years, I spent way too much time with realtors. I'm like, this is stupid. Why don't we just hit them with a low number and see if they respond? Now, I've gotten better over the years. I learned to build rapport and take all the steps and qualify them, and that helps out a lot more. So that's good. You got it. Like, don't overthink the comp part, guys. It's much simpler than what you think it is.
And just one more, and I'll apologize to everybody. I apologize for taking so much time, but just one more question.
Go ahead.
So with my schedule right now, working for basically from 5 a.m. to about 5:30. That's my work wise, and then do my cold call for about 2 hours, 2.5. Usually people start getting upset at me when I start calling them after 8. So I would kind of use my cutoff time about 8 o'clock. So that's my schedule Monday through Friday. What should my weekends be looking like if I'm trying to get a deal within the next 30 days?
So you're doing virtual, right?
No,
local. Dude, I took on the driving for dollars, man. Like I get deals to this day doing driving for dollars, and I like to do it. Like I just go out, I just take different routes, and now I've gotten good at taking pictures of the houses, and then full disclosure, my son showed me how to use our driving for all dollars app. And honestly, it took me a little while because I'm not like a real techie guy, but once I figured it out, it was kind of a game changer for me. And I was just like, I didn't know. So the problem is, as I get older, and you guys when you get older, looking up and down at 100 houses and writing it down, I start to get like a vertigo thing. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, and so I used to stop. So now they showed me how to do my phone. I turn on the app. I used dmzack.com. I was like, God damn, I kind of complained about it when I first did it, but now I'm like, I get it. All our employees use it. I'm like, he get that. So I had an employee ride with me twice to show me how to do it. And I got it all dialed in. So dude, don't overlook driving for dollars, man. It is I've just gotten 2 beautiful houses, and without driving for dollars, I would have never got them. So I would just add the driving for dollars, because you can incorporate that somewhat within your day. So it's not like you're completely doing a separate one, but if you just pick up 50 to 100 leads a week and driving for dollars, after a month, you have 400. after 6 months, that'll be 2,400 leads you follow up. You're eventually going to find a deal in there. And to me, it's one of the fastest ways to do it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, so like right now, I'm working on I guess you can call them leads, but like 1,900 driving for dollars leads so far. But I have 500 that have not skip traced yet because, like I said, I'm still working. I'm like about 100 through these. So
and just think about like the whole sticky note thing. Like, but guys, you can get these things pre-printed. Like they're really cheap. Just search the internet, or you can get a stamp, which a lot of people do, and you can have a stamp made for $5 at like a Kinko's or something. And you just put yellow pads in there, and just like while you're out doing it, you can just stick them on the door, and like you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So you find an ugly house, just stick a sticky thing on the door and see if they call you. Great. If they call you, great. If they don't call you, move on and find another follow-up technique with it. And it works. It's just when you find an ugly house, I promise you there's a problem there. I promise you. And there's nothing better than your 2 eyes and finding like good deals, because nobody wants the grass to grow high. Nobody wants snow to pile up. Nobody wants like a house with boarded up windows or roofs with blue tarps on them. Nobody wants that. It means there's a problem. And that's where there's problems, you and people like me have opportunity. Where there's opportunity, that's where we strike. You got to find as many opportunities as humanly possible. So the only other one I would add on that is like the driving for dollars, and just push it, because guys, I found like, honestly, my first 4 years, I don't know what I would have done without driving for dollars. It was like, it changed everything I did. I had so many conversations in person. I did different type of sticky note. I would leave like a full letter on the door, but like we're in a different world today. And then I door knocked, but I wouldn't door knock in today's world with Ring cameras. It's a nightmare. I went and knocked on someone's door of a property I'm trying to buy. I thought I was going to I ran, buddy. I came out like all pissed, like swinging stuff at me. I'm like, I'm not getting killed over this. So driving for dollars, and just like keep your volume up and just keep moving along. I mean, you're doing it the right way. And then just network with everybody, because a lot of you guys overlook friends and family. And I know family can be difficult, but the amount of friends deals I've done, it proved I'm well over 100. Like just people that bought a rental house, it didn't go well, or like, hey, Johnny needs to sell his house. The roof's going bad. They bought it last year. I think they're going to be upside down. That's how I pick up a lot of my subject to properties. And here's the thing is, you have built-in trust, but I don't make anybody do a deal. I'm like, you want to sell the realtor, sell the realtor. If you don't want to deal with a realtor and you're going to give it away, call me and I'll work a deal out with you. And you have to let everybody know what you do. My mom actually convinced one of her best friends to use me. Now, my mom's not here anymore, but like it was special because the lady, like honestly, they tried to give me the house. Give me the house. I sold the house for $115,000. And honestly, if I was smart, I would have kept it. It was a waterfront property. There was a lot going on with it. I took over the lady's mortgage, and that was one of my mom's best friends. And guys, don't underestimate it. Like talking to people, like family's the toughest one. I'm not going to lie to you, but like when my mom did that, I took a lot of proceeds and like I treated my mom like you should treat all your moms like a queen. Took her on a cruise, took the whole family, and just enjoyed it and said, Mom, I really appreciate it if you have any of your other friends that do this, but somebody passed away. It was a probate situation. It was perfect. And I'm just telling you, over time, so I get probably 2 deals a year from friends and family.
Oh.
On average, hands down, I'm doing one right now as I speak. And where I grew up, now I don't even do this market, but everybody knows what I do. They go, hey, Rick, I got this house. A tree fell through the backside. We don't know what to do with it. The realtors are all looking at us sideways. And the realtors all told me they'd spend $12,000 and then they would list the house. They go, Rick, can you deal with this for us? I'm like, sure. I'll buy it. And so I set them up with an insurance claim and they're like, okay, we'll minus off this, and that. And it all worked out. I go, you mind if I take the mortgage over while I'm doing the whole thing? And so I have a company that's going there and fix it. It's going to cost about $4,000 and I'm going to put it on the market for full value. And I already have an agreement with the family and everybody wins. Like they go, listen, if we could just walk away with like $325,000 cash, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, let's make it work.
Wow.
And we do this over and over. So, but you got to like talk to people. Family's the toughest one to talk about it because they're like, what are you up to? What scam you up to?
Man.
And my family said that to me for a long time. And I go, I'm not. This is what I do. I help people out. So a lot of people think you and me like just steal houses from little ladies. We don't just do, no, we don't do that. I don't. I don't morally and ethically ever want to do that. So I find people that just want to get rid of a house and want their problem solved. And if it's a win-win, great. I have some people that think they're getting full value for the house and they don't even understand they're selling it to me at discount. I'll take advantage of that one too. I'm not an idiot. So, but most of my sellers are motivated. I help them out. I make it super easy and I create a win-win situation. When you do that enough times, eventually the odds stack up in your favor. So in the beginning, dude, I took whatever I could get, just like you. Just keep expanding and stay positive because it will come. I promise. You just got to keep doing the work and you got to be disciplined and be very consistent. Okay.
Man, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, man. I'll see you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go on just a little bit too long. That's why I have a channel. What's up, Michael? Michael.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You're unmuted, man. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, what's going on, man?
I'm
What can I help
doing
you out
great,
with?
man. I'm glad we were able to work with you guys and we're able to lock up that deal and it'll be closed by the end of the month. So that'll be my first deal. So I'm super stoked about it.
All right, man. So guys, I don't ring bells on this channel. You guys do the work. All I do is give you my wisdom and then my son kind of gives you guys the energy. And that's the beauty of this channel. Like, and I'm here to tell you over and over, you don't need $10,000, $15,000 courses because at the end of the day, you have to go out and do the work. And I don't know why everybody thinks they can peel back this veil and someone's just going to walk you through to your first property. It's never that easy. Like it's, even with my son, guys, and as you think, oh my God, dude, I was brutal on him. I go, so he chose Bandit signs. I gave him 3 options and then he did the Bandit signs and then I made him call and God, I wish I could have recorded the first probably 50 phone calls he did. They were painful, but he was bad and then he just got better. And that's the only difference is you got to keep striving forward. There's very few things you can pick up life and you're just naturally good at. It happens every now and then. But like I'm a really good at fishing. I love fishing, but I've been fishing since I was like 4. Like I know everything and I still always want to learn more. And the same thing as real estate. I constantly listen to everybody. I don't think I have all of it figured out, not even in the slightest. Honestly, I still think I'm a rookie in a way. And I know that sounds weird after 20 years, but like there's different levels to this game. And like every time you take you move up, you're like, oh my God, this guy's moving $10 million in a shot. I'm like, but keep in mind, I just want to get my first deal. Then I want to make my first 50 grand. And then I go, man, if I could just make 100 grand. And when I made 100 grand, I left my corporate job and I really took the massive risk. But guys, that was 21 years ago. And so here's you doing the exact same thing. How did you find the deal?
It was a probate.
Yeah. So that's amazing. That's like awesome. So what do you think? I haven't looked at it. I don't have it in front of me right now, but what's the potential profit level for it?
So we did hit some hurdles on it. We had to do an addendum and go back and get a price reduction. But after everything, it's going to be 28,000 total.
Okay. Awesome. That's amazing.
So
When you set the close?
It's awesome.
And when do you set the close?
If not sooner. The 31st, if not sooner.
Okay.
So pretty
That's
stoked.
awesome. Well, is there anything else I can help you out with or anything you're looking at for future deals you need help with?
Yeah. So I had just a couple quick questions. So when it comes to code calling pre-foreclosures, is there like a different technique that you got to use on them? Because obviously I'm going back to December and calling those people and it's like, oh, we're not interested in selling. I'm like, well, you're in foreclosure. So, you got to get the ball in here soon or you're going to lose your property. But they're still like, I'm not getting very many good hits off of them. So I was curious.
Pre-foreclosures,
there's a different way.
So here's the problem. Your only shot, in my opinion, is catch them right away. soon as they come off the press, like the minute you have a publication and their name's on it, you got to try to call them first and connect with them, because as time goes on, every one of them thinks they have a million options, and you get in that denial zone and you can't. It's literally just a waste. It's like the girl you're madly in love with, but she won't date you, but she keeps you at bay just in case all other options fail. And you don't want to be that person. I've done that so many times. So I did an entire video on pre-foreclosure. I want to check it out. I actually recently just did it, and it should be on the YouTube page. And if you can catch a pre-foreclosure the minute it comes out, and you can kind of be the first to contact them and put up with a lot of drama, I'm not going to lie to you, Michael, a lot of drama, you got a shot. But if you wait a few months, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to get 6 months of data and then I'm going to call them. It's more efficient. Like, dude, it's painful. And some people are very talented and they're good with it, and some just don't have the patience for it. I was much more effective when I door knocked, but those days are much harder. If I was going to do that today, I would do a reverse driving for $1. So maybe you want to mix it up. Are you doing it locally or virtually?
Locally. And I also I called the
Are
courthouse.
you in Florida, Michael? You're in Florida, right?
Yes.
Okay. And let me ask you this. So keep in mind, I don't look at everything. Are you doing the deal with me and Zach, or are you doing it with another partner?
Your dispo guy is the one that
Okay. I got it. So I'm going to go back and double check everything to make sure. But here's, do me a favor. In the private chat, can you just leave me, just put Michael and your phone number, because I just want to reference and make sure. When I'm done, I got a conference call and I want to go over your deal. So just put your number in there in case I got to call you and make sure everything. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. I remember talking to you originally about this. So I told you I thought it was a great deal. So just do me a favor in that private chat, put it in there and I'll set it aside. That way I know if I need to get a hold of you, because I got an hour-long phone call when I get off of this, and I want to make sure everything's done correctly. So I remember talking to you originally about it. Yeah, I know. I talk about a lot of deals, but like, send it to me. I see it. Okay. I got it.
Okay. And another quick question I have, I don't want to hold you up. I'm actually originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I know Zach was talking about that was a top virtual market. I recently called the courthouse and I tried to get a record of all the probates, and they said that they actually don't keep records of those. And I've done it. I've called 3 different times, and that's what they tell me.
You're going to have to find someone. The only way you're going to penetrate that demon is you're going to have somebody go there locally. And it's funny because I have a good family friend that lives in Louisville, Kentucky, and he bugs me all the time. I go, dude, let me just show you how to do this. It's not hard. He goes, no, Rick. He goes, you send me the leads. I'll do everything. And so it's funny you just said that, because I was contemplating. I'm not in that market, by the way, right now. But it's really like, you have intimate knowledge and you know Kentucky well, right?
Right.
Oh my God, that's a gold mine there. Find someone that'll help you out do it, or, but like that's the only problem is like almost on the phone, even with your local in Florida, when you call, you'll get kicked to the curb. So find a way to work around it. Okay. But I'm telling you, man, that market, dude, amazing. Like, he calls me all the time with like, he doesn't even know what he's doing. He won't take the time to even go through the free course I offer. And I can't make people do stuff, but I think it's just kind of funny when people just like, well, and he's a friend of mine. And I try to go, listen, I try to help you out, but I'm not going to do all the work for you. And he's like, you do everything, do that, you fund them. I'm like, I don't fund, we just do assignment of contracts. And he just didn't quite figure it out. But he shares some of the numbers with me over there. You're nuts if you don't do that market, dude. And if you even know it better, because I don't know it, that's my other problem. So I have to rely on like local people. And it takes on average a couple months to figure out a virtual market. So, and don't let just stop from probates. There's other ways to find deals there too. But you're going to have somebody locally eventually help you out. So maybe you got some family or friends and eyes and ears on the ground and go, listen, if you can help me do this, I'll do that next time I'm up there, that type of deal. But it's hard on the phone everywhere. Like, everybody has the same problem you do with that. So just find another way to work around it, or find a way you can put lists together and find some other avenues. A lot of you guys overlook the one thing I didn't tell you today is like, do Bandit signs still work? I can't do them in my market because I had to sign an agreement with the counties. And if I get caught again, like I go down to the POPO station and I don't want to do it anymore. So in the beginning, you get a lot of forgiveness, even when they're like not like valid, because they are a tremendous billboard for you. So if you don't know if they're legal or not, the first thing you do is look around other than paid political signs and see if mattress guys are putting out signs. And the number 2 one are these like single dating sites. And if you're smart, find the guy that's putting out those signs and go, listen, I'll give you X amount of dollars for the signs you put out with me. And they'll put it, because there's always one guy, you watch him, he puts out a bunch of signs and he's got headphones on him and they're brutally like, they are very systematic about it. I've also hired people and they put my signs in the dumpsters because I didn't follow up enough. So you got to make sure whoever puts them out is going to put them out. And number 2, make sure if you're doing it kind of in the cover of darkness, maybe it's not legal in your neighborhood. I'm not telling you what to do, but you better be careful you have putting out the signs, because if they get caught, they'll run you under the bus. Hey, this guy, Michael, told me here's his company, here's his phone number. You're like, oh man. So like you have to be careful when you hire people like that, because you're risking a lot when you do it. So if you're in one of those states where it's like, you're not sure it's legal, you know it's not legal, you better do it yourself, because you're going to get other people in trouble. And usually here's the deal, guys. When you get caught once, you could go, I had no idea. You get caught the second time, you blame it on your brother or your mother. And the third time you have to stop doing it. But my son did when he was 17, he did a sign campaign in a market I gave up on years ago. Dude, the kid put out 35 signs and he did 5 deals. And I thought he was crazy. And he had no experience. He had no nothing. And I made him take the deals down. 2 of them he did very well. The other 3 were okay because I wasn't going to. I didn't negotiate for him. I taught him, and he got nervous, and but he worked through it, and he's very strong from going through that. So, ask around your buddies in Kentucky and see if they see Bandit signs up there. They're cheap, they're effective, and guys, I'm telling you, they still work. I know they're a little nasty type of deal, but there's a reason why these single dating sites put them up and these mattress companies put up, because they're making tons of money. Okay. So if it cost you $30 to put out 30 signs and you get 10 or 15 leads and you get 2 deals out of it, you're going to think that's the best money you ever spent in your life. And put them in high traffic areas near Walmarts, grocery stores, Home Depots, stuff like that. It's phenomenal. You can't put them on highways when people are blowing by 55 miles an hour. Nobody reads it.
Okay. I'll look into Bandit.
Think about that, guys. God, I actually forgot to mention that, guys. I went with you. So, and Michael, I'll follow up and make sure everything's working out on that deal. So I got to do a phone call right after this. So I appreciate it. And I think that's awesome. You got it through the probate. So good job. Okay. Well, let me take some questions here. I'm not ignoring you guys on the line. So somebody asked what the estimate site again is, and it's real simple. I'll scroll it there on the bottom. How did they catch me? They didn't catch me. They caught a guy, put out the sign, and they basically brought him into a county office and interrogated him. And then how I got correlated, they gave me my cell phone number, my personal cell number. And like, it was hard to get out from that one. The other thing you guys will get is you'll get code violation officers, and they'll call on your sign and they'll act like they're interested in selling a house. But I'm here to tell you, they can only keep that act up for about 30 seconds because they're terrible at salespeople. That's why they're in a code violation job. So if you always have the charismatic ability to talk to people and qualify them, they can't give you an address. They can't give you anything, understanding you're probably being punked. So when you do Bandit signs, you have to be very guarded on the phone. Hey, what's the property address? My rule, and I teach all my guys, because we don't do Bandit signs for the most part anymore. But when I teach people how to do it, the number one question is, what's the property address you're referring to? If they can't give you a property address, they're lying to you, and they're probably trying to catch you, and they're trying to hit you with a violation. Nobody in their right mind off a Bandit sign, if they don't give you an address, they don't have a property to sell you. So just make sure that's part of your qualifying question. If they don't give you an address, just move on. If they don't give you a full name, move on, period. So it's so funny when they call them that stuff. I think it's just, I I think it's hysterical. Let's see here. If you want to get on the call, if you go in the comment section towards the top under Rick Ginn, you'll see a link to that. Just click that and I make it super simple. So let's help out here. I got Jerome, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's going on, man?
Oh man, it's been a while, huh?
It's been a while, man. Catch me up. What's going on?
All right, so I'm killing it with the cold calling. I love it. I love going for no. I love all that stuff.
So you're the perfect person to talk to it. Tell me,
like,
before you did wholesaling, what did you do?
Let's see. I worked construction and I did offshore liners.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you always been a talkative person?
Yeah. Well, depending on the area that I'm from, we just didn't do a lot of talking. And then I branched out and started talking to people, and then I got comfortable with it. And then people got comfortable with me because I look intimidating. So I don't get a lot of just platonic conversation. So
why would you look intimidating?
I'm like I dress in a certain way. You would think I was doing something illegal. And then I have a walk as if I'm angry and I don't know how to change it.
Okay.
and I've been like this for over 20 years. So
how old are you, Jerome?
41.
Okay. You're still young. It's funny. It's so funny how people like, the one thing I've learned as I've gotten older in life, like judging people by the way they look, talk, act, walk, run, cry, you're literally wasting your time. Like people surprise me every day. Some for the good, unfortunately, a lot for the bad. And I give everybody the benefit of the doubt until they prove me otherwise. And so it's kind of funny you say that because it's, because like one of the biggest obstacles I did was Zach when he was young. He's like, I'm so young. They're never going to believe me. I'm like, and I just said, dude, your youth is an asset. And I just tell people like, it doesn't matter if you're small, dude, people love small people. Like you're not intimidating. It's great. If you're big, great. You're a powerful, strong person that like can help me out. Like dude, we're all so unique. It's just so funny how people like, honestly, if you have a good personality, you know how to talk to people, people will quickly look past you. Now, I'm not a small guy either, but like I get it when you're a big, formidable person. My accountant, for the record, my CPA, he's 6'6". I'm just like,
right.
He makes me look small. I look at him, I'm like, oh my God. When he came out the front, and I said, there's no way he's an accountant. There is, dude, that right there. I go, that is the center on the Miami Dolphins. There's no way he's my accountant. And like, but after 5 minutes, boy, did he like, whoo. I was like, wow, okay, you know your stuff. I was like, and so but sometimes a little bit, sometimes the book doesn't match the cover and you have to understand that. And so the beauty of cold calling, I'm giving the positive part is they can't make that judgment. Now they do make a judgment on your voice, your tonality and your tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's advantageous for someone like you. But here's the truth of it, Jerome. A lot of people, I would say a majority of people are so fearful of cold calling. That's why I'm doing this live. And I know it's not the most popular conversation I've ever had, but it's the dang truth. So the thing is, let me ask you, if you are fearful of snakes, which most people are, do you want to sit in a room with snakes and hold them? No. So be brutally honest. If you don't like doing cold calls, stuff like that, just be brutally honest with yourself and find another method that's going to make it work. Because I've learned if you try to do something that's so painful and you never want to do it, like I can't eat a raw tomato. Like I've had some issues when I was a young child with my father. Like he used to force me to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would wait me out 3 hours at the table and say, boy, you're going to do it. I grew up in a different world.
Right.
But like to this day, my wife's like, I don't understand why you can't eat a raw tomato. Like cooked tomato, I'm fine. Like I had issues. Like I have PTSD as a child, but like I was taught to hate the taste because it was a 3-hour ordeal every time I do it. I throw up and so I'm not, I give you guys a little bit personal stories, but like to this day, it's not that I don't want to do it. I'm just going to do everything I can to avoid it. It doesn't financially hurt me. It doesn't hurt my family. I just don't, I can't do it because it's wired in my body. I probably could do it. It's just a choice I've kind of made. So if you don't want to cold call and you're like me, I just want you to understand you have options. So, but if you're like Jerome and you like talking to people and you enjoy it, knock yourself out. Can you give us any tips on the successes? Because you say you're doing really well with cold calling that you can share with someone that was just starting out doing cold calling.
Yeah. Basically, what I do is that I I do the MCTP, but in between MCTP, I throw in a question, and then I try to detour the conversation for at least 30 seconds. And then that automatically works. So by the time we get to the end of the conversation, they're telling me stuff about their kids, what they're going to go do in the next 2 years.
Uh-huh.
They're very receptive to me because I'm not just being a robot. Um, I also like to get deep into what the person what their pain points are, and
Mhm.
then I stay there for a second, another 30 seconds, and then I get back to the questions. And
Correct.
then so in the course of 10 minutes, I've went through everything that they wanted that I need to go through to get personal, not be their friend, and then get down to it. And then if they're rushing me, like, oh, give me that, and then I do the have you ever bought a car?
Yeah,
And then
Max really good with that. He actually, a 16-year-old taught me that. And just,
yeah, they
and
love
you
it.
understand it takes, you got to put your ego to the side and go, okay, if this kid's making it work, let me. So I used to sit and listen to Zach's cold call. I'm like, because you know why? Because he did it at the dinner table. While he was in high school, I'm like, I think he has, I told my wife, I go, I think he has a problem. I've turned him on the cold calling and he won't stop. Let me ask you this. From the earlier caller, he said, like, sometimes I get in there, I ask them questions, I get in the qualifying, and they go, I don't know. You call me, you tell me. And so I'm like, dude, they're just volleying back to you. You got any tips to like kind of give to them? Because I don't know everything about cold calling, and honestly, I'm learning a lot as I talk to you guys. So
Uh-huh.
when the customer volleys it back to you, like, no, just give me, you called me, you tell me what the offer is, and if it's it, and
So yeah, I got you. So as soon as they
yeah,
say something like that, I'm going to give them one of the most coldest low balls that I'm trying to get hung up on at this point because I
yeah,
don't feel that you were motivated to sell to me. So as soon as they do that, I'm landmine. Oh yeah, what are you? Oh, okay. Well, you want to offer? And then if the volley method don't work, the one
yeah,
that you taught, then I go for the landmine. I say if they want 100,000, I'll be like, okay, I got $32,000, 32,399 cents.
yeah.
Oh my God, no, that's okay. Well,
That's awesome, man. I mean, so what's going on? What can I, dude,
yeah.
you're
So my
helping me
issue
out. So
is,
what can I do to help you out?
yeah. So my issue is that okay? I got a seller on the hook right now. Just got off the phone with him about 30 minutes ago. He says that he has a property. He has a property. He's listed it for 160. It's a mobile home. But inside the mobile home, it looks like a to the nines remodel. So I went for the no. I said
Yeah.
I got 95,000.
Okay.
He said, "Oh no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay, the lowest I will go is 100 and." He paused and then he said 135,000. I said, "Okay." I did the comps. He's about 25, 30,000 less than what the property appraiser says and what Redfin, Zillow, and all the other estimates says. So I said, okay, I'll go with that. After I did the comps in the area, it made more sense because they're selling upwards of 160, around 175.
Uh-huh.
So when he told me that, I said, okay, um, I'll give you a purchase and sell agreement. We'll go over it together. And if everything checks out for you, I can send it to the title company. We can open escrow and let's go. That's my motivation for him to, pick it up. But
Hmm.
what happened is that once I got to DocuSign,
Yeah.
it says that I can't use it anymore for free.
Yeah. You got to do it like a paid version of it. Like, by the way, there's like 5 different services out of there. I have to use one because I have this ridiculous contract with my real estate agency. But just to let you know, I pay $150 a month. So, but it's high volume contract. So find a service that makes it work. You can get them at a very reasonable number. Just find one. At some point, you're going to get past the free service. So get something that you can rely on. I don't really have any affiliations with them because I think they're all, they more cater to realtors than they do people like us. So I find it a real pain in the butt. But there's so many services out there now. Just find one and Google it. Like me and Zach don't ever we've tried. Trust me, we tried and we're still trying. But every time somebody gives us a price, they give us a different thing, and we tell everybody you have to have a free trial service because we want our customers to. Your service has to stand on its own 2 feet, not just on what me and Zach recommend. So, and then we use it, and then when they give us problems, I'm like, oh, I'm not recommending that. They're going to kill us on it. And so, you think it would be simple, but it's more complicated.
Yeah, that's only
so there's .loop, DocuSign, there's eSign. I mean, it's endless. So, don't sit there and kill yourself. Usually, they're within $20-$25. And just be done with it, because you can only use the free version so long, and they lock you out and they drive you crazy, and they do that on purpose. So you're forced to use them. So look at it, go, okay, this is what I can cost. I really don't write more contracts than this. And it's nice if they keep like an online, so you can get cloud storage with them, all this other stuff with it. And it's really valuable. And we're actively looking for someone that we can get a group discount to help everybody out. But I'm not happy about paying $150. I think it's ridiculous, but I have to make it available. And then they charge all the agents that work within us on the other side of our business. They charge them another $15-$20 on top of so it's like we're paying probably close to $1,000 a month. It's insane. So
okay. So I should stop complaining and just
I'm just telling you honestly, if you can get it done within like $20-$25, but listen, that's what I think would be a deal, because think about if you had to get your car, do gas and all that other stuff, and then it makes it official, and it actually makes it a legal document. So don't script too much, but it shouldn't break the bank.
They're prescribed. I mean, they're subscribing for $10 or $25 a month. There's nothing I could just use per sign.
As I said, I don't get into the weeds on that. So you could get into Adobe, all these other, it's just well past my pay grade. I just honestly, within $20, $20-$25, just move on. There's just a certain cost they have to do it for security features, and they spend a fortune creating these things. I like one. So listen, you're going to pay the fee. So find the one that works best for you. The one thing I do like about it is it stores every contract we do, and they label them, and they tell you the time it was signed. They give you the IP address. It's actually really nicely organized. So I don't have to we don't really keep as many hard files other than the originals that we write. So just find one that works within you. And then a lot of times, just so you know, you get a better price if you negotiate for a year. So you can pay a month or two, and then say, if you want to get another 15% discount, you pay it in a year advance, but you don't need to do that up front. Honestly, you could use me for a lot better stuff like that. I just don't have I just anything under $20. I don't spend any energy, because it's just not, it's not going to make you any more money. So, but you need it. And honestly, you need it to finish your final part of your product. So just go get one, and you can do it month to month and just try them out for a few months. And then you can keep bouncing around till you find one that you're happy with.
All right. That's cool. I'll do that. I just thought that maybe it was something that was totally free.
No, but you got to understand there is an expense to run those. It's
okay.
You guys
I'll do it. I'll do it.
DocuSign,
they're like $10. So
even to me talking to you guys every month, if I told you what this stuff costs, you wouldn't even believe me. Thousands of dollars. We have to host it. We have to put it out there. And honestly, me and Zach do most of the stuff internally. I got some back-end employees, but we try to keep it minimalistic, because guys, I'm not sitting here. The main driver why most gurus want to connect and talk is they want to sell you a course. So since we don't sell a course, we try to keep this minimalistic, because actually I have fun doing this. I enjoy, I'm doing this on my own free time and will. Why? Because I get to do deals. Michael just did a deal with me, and I'll make plenty of money, and it'll make Michael happy, and it's a win-win situation. So what I love about me and Zach is no one's ever forced to do stuff with us. Everything we do is natural and organic, and it's fun that way. When I have to sit here and sell you how easy wholesaling is, and you pay me $10,000, and then 95% of you fail, it's torture for a guy like me, because if I know 90% of the people are going to fail, why do I want to be motivated to coach people? And every real estate wholesale coach I've ever met, they've always quit, or they've copped out, or they've used somebody else. Why? Because it's hard. Let me ask you, if you were in a classroom and you were teaching and 95% of your students fail, you'd probably be miserable.
Yeah, if we had a job.
Yeah. And let me tell you, when you fail with your own bank account, it's much more painful than getting an F in history. So it's like, we're trying to change this whole thing up. I think we should do things that when you win, I win, and when I win, you win. And then we're trying to do something like that. So don't, like with the DocuSign, I'm telling you, they spend millions to get these services up. Just do the basic service. Trust me. You don't want to do any of that crap yourself. It's a nightmare. Because the old school way, you know how I did DocuSign when I started? I went down to the post office. I put a contract in. I put the little yellow stickies on, and I'd pay $20. And I would overnight it and have a pre-sign and go back. And then it was 50-50 if they ever put it back in. That was my DocuSign. So you guys got it a lot easier today. So now you're going to be thankful. Just go out and find the one that you're going to marry. And then if it doesn't work out, just divorce it and go to the next one.
I will, man. I appreciate that. Everything
I appreciate it, man. I love this guy because he's ending it on a positive note. He loves cold calling. And guys, I do love cold calling if you got the guts to do it, but it's not for everybody. You got options on it. So I'll see you, Jerome. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
See ya later. Okay. Okay. So guys, if you want to learn how to get this going, go over to freewholesaling.com. Everything's there is for you, and it is absolutely free. And guys, listen, do me a favor. If you enjoyed today's contents, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. The subscribe button, I'm trying to grow this channel. I want to bring more people in. And honestly, if I missed you on this live, do me a favor. Zach's going to be on tomorrow. I see people asking what's the schedule. Zach will be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. He does a really cool cold calling. I know you guys love talking to him, sometimes more to him than me, but that's fine. And then Zach will be on Wednesday, and then me and Zach will be on Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then me and Zach, and then I'll be on Friday. So guys, that's 6 days a week. You have a chance to work with us. Let's jump on it. It's either use it or lose it. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that like button. And I will see, Zach will see you guys tomorrow, and I will connect with you guys on Thursday, Friday. Go out there, get some deals, man, guys. Awesome job.